No wrong on the base pass. The quick legs stole 4 bases and now have the second best stolen base percentage in the National League. As the Dodger defense continues to struggle, Tommy Lasorda juggles his lineup as he searches for the Blues' first win in Chavez Ravine. Braves and Dodgers next. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dodger Stadium in Game 2 of the 3-game series between the Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm Pete Van Wieren. The Braves still unbeaten on the road. The Dodgers still winless at home after Atlanta's 7-1 victory over Los Angeles last night. Among the many highlights, the superb, although abbreviated, pitching performance of Steve Avery. And he's with Don Sutton down on the field right now.
All right, Pete, thank you very much. Steve Avery, you were waltzing right through the Dodger lineup. Then at the end of 6, we saw you leave. What happened?
Sixth inning came around. My fingers got a little bit softer. I was sweating a lot and just happened to develop a blister.
One pitch causes that, or what?
My four-seam fastball. My fingers are on the seams, and it kind of rubs on it a little bit, and it tends to rip it. So, you know, it got a little bit painful, and I had to come out.
You got some magic potion that can cure that?
I'm looking for one. Dave's he's in the training room right now looking up something, trying to get rid of this, but we tried some things last year, didn't keep it away all that great, but it healed up pretty quick, and I'm not looking to miss any starts.
At times last year, you struggled a little. You're off to a great start. What's the difference in you this year and last year?
Just a little more confidence, feeling a little bit more comfortable out there. You know the team's gonna. We've improved our defense so much. You know that if they hit the ball on the ground or in the air, that it's going to be caught, and that's a big confidence builder.
Braves lead the series 1-0. It'll be Glavine against Gross when we come back.
The Atlanta Braves, America's team. Brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by the official airline of the Atlanta Braves, Delta.
It's Ronnie Gant. David Justice is in right field. The fifth spot hitter is first baseman Sid Bream. Following Sid in the lineup, it's Terry Pendleton over at third base. Greg Olson is catching. Rafael Belliard is the shortstop, and on the mound, it's Tom Glavine. Defensively, this is how the Dodgers will line up. You'll see Stan Javier in left, Brett Butler in center. Darryl Strawberry will be in right field. The infield is made up of Hamilton, Griffin, Samuel, and Murray. Gary Carter starts in place of Mike Scioscia, and on the mound, it's a right-hander, Kevin Gross. Here's a look at his numbers. He is off to a horrendous start. Has yet to complete the third inning in any of his first 2 starts, giving up more than 2 hits per inning. Gross, a right-hander signed as a free agent from the Montreal Expos. You might say he's an expensive insurance policy in case Belcher and Hershiser had not come back. Here's a look at the umpiring crew for tonight. Behind the plate, it'll be the veteran Doug Harvey. Jim Quick is at first base. Second base, it's Dutch Rennert. The third base umpire is Gary Darling. We're just about set to get underway, but before we do, let's take a look at what else is going on. First in the National League, Pittsburgh leads Montreal 7-3 as Montreal hits in the 9th inning. In Philadelphia, it's the Mets carrying a 2-1 lead to the bottom of the 9th. St. Louis in 7 leads Chicago 4-1. Houston and Cincinnati, they're all tied at 1. Cincinnati coming to bat in the 7th inning. And up in San Francisco, they're just underway. Neither San Diego nor San Francisco scored in the first inning. In the American League, here's what it looks like. They're all tied at 5 in Milwaukee. Milwaukee scored 5 in the first 2 innings. Texas has come back to tie it. It was New York over Detroit. That a 5-0 shutout. Frank Tanana took the loss. Island got the win. Mattingly and Kelly homered. It's Toronto and Boston. Boston now holds a 3-0 lead as Toronto bats in the 8th inning. Kansas City over Cleveland 6-0. Baltimore and Chicago, the score is 0-0 in the 2nd inning, but right now they're in a rain delay. Minnesota is playing Oakland. Oakland up by 3 as they play in the 7th. Down the freeway at Anaheim, Seattle and the California Angels just underway. There is no score. Kevin Gross has completed his warm-up tosses. He and Gary Carter are about set. Here to kick it off for you is Pete Van Weeren.
Okay, thank you, Don. Deion Sanders will lead things off for Atlanta. Deion, a .226 batting average, a home run, 3 RBIs. And it'll be interesting to see how Kevin Gross performs tonight and how the crowd responds to that performance. He has not been very well received, getting off to the shaky start that Don was talking about. And if he gets hit hard in the first couple of innings here, you're going to hear a very upset group of Dodger fans here at Dodger Stadium on another cool night. Here's the first pitch of the game, and it misses high, ball 1.
I think there's a lot of pressure on most guys going anywhere to be a free agent. But to be a free agent and to go to New York or Los Angeles, that compounds it about tenfold.
Well, I think the most drastic case I ever heard of a player unable to cope with his new surroundings was in New York. Ed Whitson, when he went over to the New York Yankees, just simply couldn't handle it and had to get out of there. That's in there for a strike. 2-1 the count now, and Deion Sanders. Jeff Treadway will follow, and then Ronnie Gant. Gross a lifetime record of 6-6 against Atlanta. You can see how the infield plays whenever Deion leads off an inning. In at the corners, up the middle, getting up toward center field and through for a base hit for Deion. One of those seeing eye 14 hoppers into center field. And the Braves off and running here in the top half of the first inning with Deion Sanders aboard. Deion 4 out of 4 in stolen bases. The Braves 15 out of 17 in stolen bases. They have more stolen bases than any other team in the National League West. There are a couple of Eastern teams with more.
And that base hit, Pete, what a great example of what Clarence Jones, Bobby Cox, everybody trying to get Deion Sanders to do. Use his speed. Anytime an infielder has to take 1 or 2 steps either side, he is not going to throw out Deion Sanders.
Now Jeff Treadway, a .269 average for the year. And we'll see if Deion is running. Kevin Gross does not hold runners that well. He is bluffing on the first pitch. And it's taken low and away, ball 1 by Treadway.
And that's just what you need when you're Kevin Gross. He's had 2 outings in which he has really struggled. Needs to get off to a good start, get a little confidence here. Number 1, he has to worry about Sanders. Number 2, when you have been wild, and we've said this before, he's not going to get any of the close pitches, so not an ideal situation for somebody who's had 2 lousy outings.
Braves have yet to lose away from home. They're 3-0 on the road. The Dodgers have yet to win here at Dodger Stadium. They're 0-4 in their home ballpark. And Gross chases Sanders back. And keep an eye on that Dodger defense tonight, too. That has been a real problem for Los Angeles in the early going. 18 errors made in 13 games. They've given up 12 unearned runs in 13 games. Again, Gross over to Murray, and again, Deion gets back.
All that we've talked about that he's going to have to cope with. Couple that with the fact that the umpires are paying especially close attention to Mr. Gross. He has been raises the seams on to get a better grip on his curveball, and got called on the carpet for it last week, and they're going to be watching him very closely tonight.
Deion is going. There's the pitch out. The throw down by Gary Carter on the money, and it gets Deion Sanders. The Dodgers guessing right, calling for the pitch out on the 1-0 pitch to Jeff Treadway, and Deion Sanders gunned down for the first time this year.
You have to hand out credit to 2 or 3 people here. Joey Amalfitano calls the pitch out. He guessed right. Gary Carter got a good pitch from Kevin Gross, got rid of the ball in a hurry, and it was right there.
So out number 1 in the top half of the first is Deion Sanders caught stealing. The count 2-0 now on Jeff Treadway. Ronnie Gant waiting on deck. Only the 3rd man thrown out trying to steal a base in 18 tries for the Atlanta team this year. Fouled away by Treadway. The count goes to 2-1. Gross made a statement. In fact, the plate umpire, Doug Harvey, involved in it about that raising the seams on the baseball. He kind of digs his nails into the ball to get those seams raised. He said about 5 years ago, first the pitch, missing high and away, it was working a game, and Doug Harvey, he claims, told him it was all right to do that. But now Terry Tata last week in a game said, And Doug Harvey now says he never did tell him that it was all right to do that. High in the air, fairly deep to left field, but playable for Stan Javier, and there's out number 2 in the top of the first. And now Ronnie Gant, who maybe is getting out of the hole after that 2-for-5 performance last night. Driving in a couple of runs, his average now up to 143.
A couple of encouraging things from Ron Gant last night. First of all, the 2 hits, but secondly, he was staying in on the ball. The upper half of the body wasn't flying toward third base. A couple of his hits the other way, and he needs to make good contact. Ron Gant is so good on the inside pitch, he can assume he's going to hit that.
First pitch is fouled back into the crowd on 1. And we could see in last night's game how it can change right in the middle of a ball game, because Ronnie's first at bat last night was not a good one. He was pulling out. But his next 4 trips, he did stay square. Takes the slider low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
When you're as quick inside as he is, and you know you can hit that pitch, you don't have to worry about opening up. You can guard the outer half of the plate, and instinctively he'll handle the inside pitch.
2 outs, bases empty here in the top of the first. The 1-1 on the way. Another breaking ball. It missed low and outside. 2-1.
If you watch Ron Gant, you'll see that his first move is to straighten up just a little bit. That's okay, but what he can't do is to take that shoulder all the way out.
Took a shot the opposite way with the outside pitch and fouls it down the right side. 2-2.
And if you were to videotape Ron Gant and overlay the hitting style of Ryne Sandberg, you would see a lot of the same actions as they swing that ball.
And speaking of videotape, that's just what Ronnie Gant went to when he was struggling back home. He pulled out some tapes of last year when he was going good, see if he could see a difference in his swing, and he did. Now the 2-2 on the way, and there's a fly ball lazy into right center field. Butler coming over. He'll get there. And Kevin Gross has a solid top half of the first inning. The leadoff single by Deion Sanders doesn't hurt. We've played a half inning at Dodger Stadium with no score.
When TBS viewers say, give us great action, we put up our dukes.
Pierre starts in left, he'll bat second. Darryl Strawberry again in right. Eddie Murray again at first base. Juan Samuel, who has hit most of the time in the second slot, is now batting 5th with the Dodgers. Gary Carter starts behind the plate. Jeff Hamilton at third base will hit 7th. The shortstop is Alfredo Griffin, and Kevin Gross is on the mound. Defensively, the Braves will line up this way. Sanders, Gant, Justice around the outfield. Pendleton, Belliard, Treadway, and Bream, they make up the infield. Olson behind the plate, and Tommy Glavine is on the mound, making his 3rd start of the year. That earned run average could be a lot better. He could have gotten a little bit better break in his second start against Cincinnati. Came out with the bases loaded. The relievers gave up all 3 of his runs. That's why there were so many runs there.
Lifetime 4-7 against the Dodgers. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a season he has against them this year. Last year, no success at all against Los Angeles. He was 0-2 with an ERA of over 10, but 2 years ago, he pitched in 4 games, went 32 2/3 innings, did not give up an earned run, and was 4-0 against Los Angeles. All 4 of his lifetime victories coming in 89. Maybe the odd-numbered years are good for Tom Glavine facing the Dodgers. We'll see.
Isn't that the Brett Saberhagen story in Kansas City?
Yes, it is. Against everybody. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Brett Butler, and it's looped into left field. Playing a shallow left, Deion Sanders, and did not make the catch, says third base umpire Gary Darling. That'll go as a base hit for Brett Butler. Sanders playing a very shallow left field.
Looks like he might have gotten confused by the lights a little. You see, he was there in plenty of time to make the catch, but slowed up just a little bit. Good call, because he did trap it. Look where he started out. Deep shortstop, really. And lost it in the lights for just a second. A good call by third base umpire Gary Darling.
So Butler has been struggling. He came into the game at only .235 and had struck out 6 times in his last 10 at-bats. Leads off the bottom of the first with a single. Now Stan Javier getting the start in left field tonight in place of Cal Daniels. Javier, the switch hitter, hitting just .154 in limited playing time so far this year.
Javier has to wonder, what does he have to do to get a job? Up in Oakland, he was thought to be the best defensive outfielder in the lineup, but he battled the Henderson-Canseco trio. He comes down here, does a great job last year. Now it's the Daniels-Butler-Strawberry trio.
I think when the Dodgers got him last year, they perhaps had plans for him to be their everyday center fielder, but then when Brett Butler became available and they were able to sign him to a free agent contract, Javier found himself back on the bench.
Well, Gibson was hurt, and it was obvious Samuel did not want to play center field and was not going to play center field. So the only way they could make that move was to free up Randolph and get him out of here so Samuel could come in. The trade was an ideal match. Randolph to Oakland, Javier here.
Oh, they got Butler picked off. Sid Bream chasing him toward second, and he'll apply the tag. So in the first inning for both teams, leadoff singles, and in both cases, the runner is a dead duck.
Good move by Tom Glavine. Hesitated just a little. Bingo. Butler was going on first movement. And this is how you want to execute the rundown play. If you don't have to throw it, don't. Nice job by Sid Bream.
So one away now. Base is empty. A count of 0-1 on Stan Javier. That missed low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Don ran down those scores for you in the National League. And one of those games features a new manager. The Philadelphia Phillies today fired Nick Leyva. Jim Fregosi has taken over the reins there. They also made some wholesale personnel changes on their ball club. Dave LaPointe was released. A couple of other players were sent down. Dave Hollins and Wes Chamberlain. Danny Cox called back up from Clearwater, where he's been pitching in a rehab assignment. So we'll see if the Phils, who are off to a 4-9 start, can turn it around under Fregosi. Swing and a miss at the fastball by Javier. 2-2 the count.
And speaking of rehab assignments, Pete Smith made his third one. How did he do yesterday?
4 2/3 innings, 10 strikeouts.
Sounds like he's getting close to being ready.
By far the most impressive outing in his third rehab start. He had struggled a bit in his first 2. Here's the 2-2 now. Foul back. It remains 2-2 on Stan Javier. Pete was pitching for Macon. That's Class A ball. Macon defeated Savannah 6-4 as line. 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. The 2-2, little chopper hit out toward short. Belliard, nice play to his left, on to first in time. Good play by Rafael Belliard. As that much improved defense that Steve Avery was talking about with Don Sutton shows itself.
When Belliard has to make a throw like this, it's almost like watching a midget throw the shot put. He has to put everything into it, waste no effort. And one thing you notice about Belliard's throws, whether it's right at him or whether he has to go to his left or his right, he always gets them by a step.
Now Darryl Strawberry, who's having a cool April. 227, only 1 home run so far and 6 RBIs. Batting here with 2 outs and the base is empty. Strawberry only 1 for 15 in his career against Tom Glavine. And he takes the breaking ball low for a ball. Tomorrow night, John Smoltz against Mike Morgan. That game will be on the Braves radio network and on Sports South in the Southeast. Our next TBS telecast Friday night from Houston, Charlie Liebrat against Jim Deshaies. 1 ball, 1 strike now on Darryl Strawberry. Another good crowd here at Dodger Stadium. Not quite as many as we had last night. Last night over 42,000 turned out. Looks like we're in the 35 to 37 range tonight. 1-2 now on Strawberry. Beautiful ballpark. If you're ever out this way, make sure you come out here and take in a ball game. Here's the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Was this your favorite ballpark, Don, all the years you spent here, or did you have another favorite?
No, I think my favorite ballpark I ever played in was County Stadium. But as far as the creature comforts and a place to come enjoy a ball game, you'd be far-fetched to find a better one than here.
On the outside corner, strike 3 called. Darryl Strawberry called out on strikes by Doug Harvey. Tom Glavine has his first strikeout. That's all for the Dodgers in the bottom half of the first inning. Each team starts the same way. A leadoff single, a runner caught stealing, and the next 2 guys go down. We've completed 1 with no score.
It was a big day today for one of the Dodger mainstays of the past. Oral Hershiser threw his second simulated ball game. This is the 4th of a 5-step process. There's a surgery, then there's exercise, then there's throwing long toss. Simulated games where you just have batters and you throw to them. Oral will get 3 outs and then go sit down. Step number 5, if he comes out of this okay, will be he will make a rehab assignment up at Bakersfield. Tomorrow will be the key day, Pete. If there's no soreness tomorrow, then they'll work him in Bakersfield in about 4 days.
No scores. We go to the top half of the second. David Justice leads it off in an interesting little scenario taking place down in the field. As you were looking at that videotape of Oral Hershiser, David Justice asked Doug Harvey to examine the baseball. Perhaps the Braves trying to intimidate Kevin Gross a little bit. And this might intimidate Kevin Gross even more. Deep to right field and out of here. Home run number 2 of the year for David Justice. It's 1-0 Atlanta. His first home run since opening night. Home run number 2, RBI number 9 of the year for Justice.
Distract might be a better word rather than intimidate, Pete, but regardless of what they did, a high tailing fastball right in the middle of his swing, right in the middle of the strike zone, and Justice got it all.
Now Sid Bream, who's trying to get himself out of an 0 for 11 skid, is averaged down to 176. He has hit Kevin Gross extremely well in his career, a 364 lifetime average against Gross, and he's hit 4 homers off Kevin Gross. 0-1 the count in Sid Bream.
Well, maybe Gross will be the thing that'll get Sid Bream well. Since the 19th, he is in an 0 for 11 slump, and he could use a base hit.
Now it's 0-2 as the fastball caught the inside corner. Despite all of Kevin Gross's problems in his first 2 starts, giving up 11 runs and 15 hits in 6 innings, that was the first home run he has allowed this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Sid Bream. Sid Bream originally signed with the Dodgers. Came up through their farm system. That's when they had all those first basemen coming up. They had Sid Bream, they had Greg Brock. Franklin Stubbs was on his way.
Sid Bream demolished the PCL at Albuquerque, but the Dodgers needed Bill Madlock for a pennant run, gave up 3 good young players to get him. Bream was one of them.
Now the 2-2 coming, and the breaking ball just missed inside. Full count now, 3-2 on Bream with Terry Pendleton on deck. Each one of these teams tonight trying to get back to the 500 level. Very, very tight race in the early going in the National League West. San Diego is on top. Cincinnati's 2 games out. Everybody else 2.5 games out. Now 3-2 on the way to Sid Bream. And it just low and inside, ball 4. Kevin Gross wanted to know where it was.
The home run to Dave Justice forced Kevin Gross to throw that pitch. Justice was a fastball tailing out over the plate. Bream had him 3-2, looking for something to hit. If he had gotten Justice out on the fastball, he would have thrown a 3-2 fastball there, but he went with the breaking ball.
Ron Peranowski, the pitching coach of the Dodgers, hoping that it's not going to be another struggle for Kevin Gross. As Terry Pendleton steps in, Pendleton had a great ball game last night. Hitting .280 on the year now with 2 homers and 6 RBIs. You look at Pendleton's night last night, he played a solid defense at third base, and every at-bat he did something. He singled to get the first inning rally going. He walked to lead off the 3rd inning. In the 5th inning, he moved a runner from 2nd to 3rd, grounding out to the right side. In the 5th inning, he singled, and in the 8th inning, he bunted 2 runners over. So every plate appearance by Pendleton last night did something to help Atlanta win. All 1 the count.
He may be a part of what he does we will never get to see that is so important to this ball club. One of the biggest impacts he will have with this ball club is what he is and what he does in the clubhouse. Well respected, very quick. He has a sharp wit, a keen needle. He'll keep the players on their toes. Guys love him, they listen to him, and they respect him.
Nobody out. Bream the runner at first. That fastball almost hits Pendleton, and the count goes to 2-0.
Just trying to keep the ball in on his hands. Pendleton likes to extend them. Fastball in. Wasn't really that close, but Terry was going in to hit the ball.
You made a comment last night after the game, and you're not the first person I've heard say this. I've heard several players say this. The Braves, when Pendleton was with the Cardinals, only got to see him 12 games a year. And you don't really realize how much he contributes to a ball club until you get to see him night after night after night.
You're right. Well, and we didn't cover all those games,
right,
so I didn't pay that much attention to it. And we saw him last year when he was injured some too. So I don't think you can really evaluate a person and his contributions to a ball club until you see him day in and day out for about a month. and I think it takes that long. Obviously, our job is to convey some things and to pass some judgment on some people. But this man is, he's 3 times the ball player I thought he was.
2-1 the count now on Pendleton, batting with Bream at first. 1 run in the David Justice homer. Nobody out here in the top of the second. It's 1-0 Atlanta. And the 2-1 on the way. Bream is going. There's the throw down. And did they get him? Yes. Sid Bream, not known for his running speed. Gunned down by Gary Carter, who's 2 for 2, nailing Braves base runners. That's out number 1 in the inning.
Well, that wasn't a steal. It was a hit and run, but the pitch grows through. You could see Bream take a look. That's how you know it was a hit and run. Pitch grows through, up and away fastball. Very easy for Carter to get to it and make the throw to second.
Carter doesn't have that shotgun arm he had when he first came up to the major leagues, but he does have a quicker release now. Trying to compensate for that. Hit off the fist down to third, and Hamilton throws out Pendleton for out number 2. That'll bring up the catcher, Greg Olson, whose batting average looks more like a bowling series. 6-15.
Greg Olson.
And Greg is very proud of the way he has started. He says, I just want you guys to remember I'm hitting 1,000 on Sundays. He has caught the 2 games on Sundays, 6 for 6 on Sunday afternoons.
And I think you could put Greg Olson into one of those categories that we put Pendleton into. You have to see him all year to appreciate how much he helps a pitcher.
A ball and no strikes, the count on Greg Olson.
A little like Belliard, what you get from him offensively is a real plus, and last year he provided some good offense, and he's starting off hot this year.
Kevin Gross with a 1-0, right through there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gross will be 30 years old on June 8th. Now in his 8th major league season. His best year all the way back in 1985 when he won 15 for the Phillies. A lifetime record of 80 wins and 92 losses. Here's the 2-1 on the way, fouled back by Olson, 2-2.
Well, all of Gross's problems last year didn't come from hanging curveballs. You recall he fractured a finger trying to bunt, and really didn't do that good of a job. Well, there you see his record after doing that. Sometimes a little thing like that changes the way you grip the ball. It can really foul up your rhythm.
Still 2-2 on Greg Olson.
Foul up your grip. Pitchers are so much a creature of habit. It's almost like a golf swing. You try to do the same thing over and over and over again, and a broken finger, a hangnail, stub toe, anything can throw your timing off and can get you into bad habits that you have to undo before you can pitch effectively again.
Again, the 2-2 on the way, and the breaking ball's in for a called 3rd strike. That's the first strikeout of the game for Kevin Gross, and that's out number 3 here in the top half of the 2nd inning. But the David Justice leadoff homer has given the Braves a lead. We go to the bottom half of inning 2. It's 1-0 Atlanta.
3 of the series tomorrow. Here are the 2 that will lock up. Mike Morgan against John Smoltz. We won't have it here on TBS, but you can see it regionally on Sports South tomorrow night at 10:30 Eastern Time. Braves against the Dodgers. Chip Carey and Ernie Johnson will bring you all it. And Friday night, right here on TBS, we will be in the Dome in Houston. Pete, Skip, and I hope you won't be with us. It'll be Skip and Chippin'.
It'll be Chip filling in. I'll be doing a basketball game that night for TNT.
Leading off the Dodgers in the 2nd inning.
We are going to the bottom half of inning 2, and Eddie Murray is going to lead things off.
Eddie Murray.
2 years ago, everybody thought Eddie Murray was maybe over the hill, unable to do it as an everyday player anymore, but he proved him wrong last year and is doing it again this year. 357 as he steps in. A 6-game hitting streak, couple of home runs. He hit one last night. He's getting closer and closer to that 400 home run mark. He now has 2 homers this year and 381 in his career.
You know, it may be harder for a veteran player like Murray to make the adjustment to a new league than a youngster who is still just going on raw talent. Eddie knew the pitchers over in the American League, knew how everybody was going to pitch him. That first year over here was a learning process for him.
Hit only 247 2 years ago. That's going to drop into center field for a base hit. Number 2 of the game off of Tom Glavine. So Murray, who raised his average nearly 100 points last year, winding up at 330, and off to a good start again this year.
Second baseman, Juan Samuel.
Glavine leaves him a fastball out over the plate, wants to go down and away, and actually got just a little bit too much of the ball of the home plate. The ball was down, but Murray, one of the things he will do is adjust. If you're going to pitch him out there, unlike in his younger days, he'll take that ball the other way.
Here's Juan Samuel, who leads this team in RBIs. That's one of the reasons Tommy Lasorda has lowered him to the number 5 spot in the batting order.
Well, I think this inning early in the ballgame with a 1-0 lead is a key one for Tom Glavine. Murray, who is hitting right at 300 against him, is on with the single, and Samuel has hit close to 400 against Tom Glavine, so he has a couple of toughies he needs to get through here to hold that 1-0 lead.
He chases Murray back to first. Gary Carter waits on deck.
Who incidentally is 5 for 12 career against Glavine.
So this part of the batting order has caused Glavine problems, although they played for different clubs at different times. 1 ball, 1 strike on Juan Samuel. Nobody out. Murray at first. We're in the bottom half of inning 2. Braves up 1-0. And the 1-1 pitch on the way to Samuel misses low and inside. 2-1.
But you know, the Dodgers really haven't been hitting the ball that badly. They're right near the top 5 in batting, but they haven't been getting a whole lot of production out of it. Look where they are in runs scored, only 9th. So they've left a lot of people stranded.
And it hasn't helped with their poor defense, giving away almost a run a game. Tommy Lasorda now in his 15th year as Dodgers skipper. Here's the 2-1 delivery. Good fastball from Glavine. It seems a little bit quicker this year with that fastball. I think he's got a little more pop on it than he has the first few years here.
And I think that caused some of the concern, or it led to the lack of control in spring training that caused some of the concern for a lot of people around the Braves. And there were a lot of negative vibes floating around. But as Tom said, it's like having a new pitch. Now I have to learn how to master putting it in the right spot.
Hard to believe, but you are looking at the senior member of the Atlanta Braves in terms of consecutive years. At the ripe old age of 25, and Tom Glavine has his second strikeout of the night. 1 gone.
You couldn't have a better example of the 2 different fastballs back-to-back. The high-sailing one that Samuel chased. Check this one out. Down and away. He can't believe that it ran out of the strike zone like that. Thought he was right on it.
Now Gary Carter, who hasn't played much for the Dodgers yet this year, hitting 143. He's only been up 7 times, has a hit. And as Don mentioned, he's hit Glavine well over his career. He bats with 1 man out, a runner at first. Carter takes a strike, 0-1.
In '89, the Mets thought he was all through. He hit about $183 for him, had the knee problems, but he can credit Bob Boone with his comeback because Boone has a conditioning program that he goes through every other night. That's about 45 to 50 minutes of real intensive training. He gave the program to Carter. It worked, and Gary got in a full year last year with the Giants.
This is a double play. Ball hit to second, over to Belliard. 1 on to first in time for the tailor-made double play, and the Braves turn it very smoothly. And Tom Glavine is out of the bottom half of the second inning. So the leadoff single does not hurt. The Dodgers are down in the second. We've completed 2 at Dodger Stadium. Still 1-0 Atlanta.
Granted by the Atlanta National League Baseball Club and is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club is prohibited.
And we move to the top half of the third inning. Pete Van Weer and Don Sutton with you from Dodger Stadium. Another cool night. You can see all the overcoats and sweaters on the crowd.
Leading off third inning.
And Rafael Belliard will start things off for the Braves here in the third. Belliard out 194 for the year. He does have 4 runs driven in.
Great time of the year to pitch here. The nights are always cool. You feel stronger. You can retain your strength, and the ball doesn't carry nearly as well as it will in June, July, and August.
And Kevin Gross delivers to Rafael Belliard. Fastball strike inside corner, 0-1. Tomorrow night, Mike Morgan, who hasn't given up an earned run yet this year, against John Smoltz, who certainly deserves better than his 0-2 record the way he's pitched. Maybe the Braves will get him some runs tomorrow night. Here's the 0-1 on the way, and it's a little looping foul ball down the right side. Count goes to 0-2. And you've always felt the ball doesn't carry as well at night here as it does during the daytime.
Oh, no, it ball jumps out of here. Sunday afternoon games, I'll bet you it carries 10, 20% further than it does at night. The air's really heavy. We're actually sitting down in a bowl here. The air settles in, it gets cool, and you just don't get any distance at night.
Gross ahead in the count 0-2. It's on the way to Belliard. And this is upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But there's a lot of asphalt, a lot of concrete been poured around here. And during the summer, the sun shines down, it gets hot, the air is light, ball jumps out of here. In the daytime, that is.
Now the 1-2 from Gross to Belliard. Fouled away again upstairs, off to the right. It remains a ball and 2 strikes. The pitcher, Tom Glavine, will follow, then back to the top of the order, and Deion Sanders. 2-2 now on Belliard. And again he fouls one into the seats. It remains 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Belliard has one of those swings, and when he has an at-bat like this, can drive you nuts if you're a pitcher. You want to keep throwing him fastballs because it's 2-2 for the very simple reason you don't want to look stupid throwing him a breaking ball and going 3-2 and maybe walking him. But all he's going to do with your fastball is keep fouling it off.
He took this one for strike 3 called. That's the 2nd strikeout of the night for Gross.
He will foul off the ones up in the strike zone, but there isn't a whole lot anybody can do with one that backs up, catches the outside corner. No doubt Belliard knew where it was. Yep, get him next time.
Now the pitcher, Tom Glavine, hitting .333. Jim Fragosi's debut as Phillies manager results in a loss 2-1 to the Mets. Cincinnati has beaten Houston 3-1. That Houston ball club has now scored only 3 runs in their last 4 games. They were able to eke out a 2-1 victory last night over the Reds. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Glavine. He was squaring, took it outside. 2-0. Pirates have defeated Montreal 7-3. Pittsburgh and New York tied for the top of the East now with 9-5 records. In for a strike. Gross took something off that one. 2-1. Caught the outside corner. 2-2. Another final from St. Louis, where the Cardinals not expected to do much this year, but they're playing quite well right now. They beat the Cubs again 4-2. And St. Louis now 9-6. A lot of youngsters playing on that ball club in their everyday lineup. Braves will see them on the last lap of this road trip.
Boy, I think they have 2 that are going to be very good players in this league, Gilkey and Langford. And if Gilkey can stay healthy, he's my pick for Rookie of the Year.
Now payoff pitch on the way to Tom Glavine. And Kevin Gross commits a pitcher's no-no, walking the opposing pitcher. 2nd walk given up tonight by Gross. San Diego playing the best ball in the West right now, and they've jumped on top of the Giants 4-1. They're in the 3rd.
Number 24.
Up the candlestick.
Sanders.
Glavine, the runner at first with 1 down. Deion Sanders, who had a base hit in the 1st inning, then was caught trying to steal for the first time this year. Let's see what Bobby Cox has him doing here. Glavine, the runner. This might be 2. Over to short 1. Griffin on to first. And even with Deion's great speed down the line, the Dodgers still able to turn the 4-6-3 double play. So So Kevin Gross gets through the third in good shape. Nothing doing for the Braves. We go to the bottom half of inning 3. It's still the Braves 1 and the Dodgers nothing. Atlanta, as we move to the bottom half of the third, a reminder the Braves back home on Friday, May 3rd. The Cubs are in for a big weekend. Gatorade Squeeze Bottle Night on Friday night, game time 7:40. Saturday night, game time is 7:10. And that's Braves Helmet Night, compliments of Pop Secret microwave popcorn. And then Sunday, May 5th, the Braves play the Chicago Cubs with the Beach Boys in concert after the game. So get your tickets now. There are the numbers to call in Atlanta. And if you live out of Atlanta, call the 1-800 number to get your tickets for the Cubs or the Cardinals who come in next. Lower third of the order due up for the Dodgers to face Tom Glavine, Jeff Hamilton, Alfredo Griffin, and Kevin Gross.
Leading off the third inning for the Dodgers.
Hamilton's bat
Batting number 7.
doing all right of late for the Dodgers. A 5-game hitting streak, a .269 average.
Hamilton.
There were a lot in the Dodger organization who thought he put more pressure on himself than anybody or any other situation could. Has got to learn to relax a little. That'll help him.
That's a big part of being successful up here. You can have all the ability in the world. But how many players have we seen with that ability come up and just not be able to cope because they try too hard and have too high expectations of themselves?
Well, if you do a little backwards logic with them, if you're a hitter, you can fail 7 times out of 10 and be great. So if you can deal with the fact that the 30% is successful here and look at it like that, it'll make it a lot easier for you.
Here's the 1-1 now to Hamilton. A little looping fly foul down the right side, and it's 1-2. Braves got their only run in the top half of inning 2, and David Justice led off the inning with his 2nd homer of the year, both of which he's hit against the Dodgers. He had one opening night in Atlanta off John Candelaria. Glavine's 1-2 on the way, and that misses downstairs 2-2.
And always, when you're a youngster like Hamilton, who hit fairly well in the minors, came up here, there is no shortage of tidbits of information dropped on you as to how to help yourself in the hitting.
Here's the 2-2 now. A little tap out towards second. Treadway charging. And Hamilton's out number 1 here in the bottom of the third.
Best piece of advice I ever heard from anybody about listening to all the people when you come into the big leagues. And I guarantee you, when you hit the big leagues as a rookie, you will get 10 bits of information daily. Sandy Koufax once said, listen to everybody because it's the respectful thing to do, but be smart enough to only pick out that which fits. Say, nod, yes, thank you very much, what a great idea, and then just blow it off the next day and do it your way.
Here's Alfredo Griffin hitting .250. You know, a former Brave who has recently been called up by the Oakland A's, Brad Cummins, went through that very situation. I think he had too many people working with him for too long, not just when he first came up. Right off the handle by Griffin toward short. Belliard on to first. Got him by a step.
Just by a step. Well, Pete, I think that there are a couple reasons for that. There are those people who genuinely want to help you get better. But there are those who want to have had some input in case you do get better. So, yeah, I remember back when we talked in '66, I told you if you raise the finger on the curveball, everybody wants to ride a winning horse.
2 gone. Here's pitcher Kevin Gross. He is 0 for 2 on the season. A 159 lifetime Major League batting average.
Has some power. Had an interesting night here last year in the middle of May against Fernando Valenzuela. He hit a home run, then walked out there and gave up one to Valenzuela.
There's the 1-0. Fouled back, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fernando has not been picked up yet by anybody, by the way. That sort of surprises me. I thought somebody would sign him with so many teams looking for pitching.
Well, I think the salary structure has driven the price of a guy like Fernando to the point where a team says, well, heck, I can take a 22-year-old out of my system who might give me 10 wins, and I can get him for $100,000 and develop him.
Here's the 1-1. Low and away, 2-1. You also have to consider what the scouting reports on Fernando were this spring. I talked to a couple of scouts who saw Fernando pitch, and they said that he really had nothing left.
78 miles an hour was top on the fastball from one report.
Foul off of the plate, 2-2. The count now on Kevin Gross. Well, boy, he had a run here at Dodger Stadium, though, didn't he, Fernando?
It is the most remarkable phenomenon I have ever seen of the fan appeal one player can generate in an area. He was worth, well, it was a sellout every time he walked out on the field here.
Now the 2-2 on the way to Kevin Gross. Struck him out with a fastball. Tom Glavine records his third strikeout. And has a 1-2-3, bottom of the third. We move to the fourth inning. Still 1-0 Atlanta. It's 1-0 Atlanta. We're going to the top half of the fourth inning. Jeff Treadway, Ronnie Gant, and David Justice do up against Kevin Gross. Each team with 2 hits. And as we go to the fourth inning, to tell you all about it, once again, Don Sutton.
All right, Pete, you have to wonder, looking at that, if some team has not considered maybe getting Kevin Gross and moving him from the starter's role into a reliever's role. Treadway, Gant, and Justice. Braves lead it 1-0. The only run, a solo homer to lead off the second from David Justice. Treadway hitting .259. Hasn't fared too well against Kevin Gross, 2 for 15. One ball, no strike. Just beginning play in the fourth inning. Gross's career record is 6-6 against the Braves. That's .500, but his earned run average right at 5.5. So he's given up some runs to the Braves. Treadway pulls it foul. It's 1-1. Last year when he was with Montreal, his record was 1-0. He had a 1.5 earned run average. And Pete, we talked about the defense and the lack of it for the Dodgers a lot. That seems to be the story here. First the pitch to Treadway. High, it's 2-1. Gross, maybe more than any of the other pitchers, is going to go into shock here. Last year when he pitched for the Expos in 163 innings, they only made 4 errors behind him. And he, like Mike Morgan, a guy that needs to get the plays. Treadway lines it to right, a leadoff single for Jeff. The third hit of the night for the Braves. That'll bring up Ron Gant.
Well, you mentioned it last night. Once you get past those first 2 guys in the rotation, Tim Belcher and Ramon Martinez, who are capable of going out there and striking out 10 on any given night, the next 3 in the Dodger rotation really have to have the defense play well behind them because they make you hit the ball.
And to repeat what we have said once before, it's not just the errors either. It's the lack of plays that should be made. You cannot give a good ball club 4 outs in a ball game. You can't give a bad ball club 4 outs an inning over and over. Gant is 0 for 1. He hasn't fared well career-wise against Gross. 2 for 13. But Ron swinging the bat much better the last 2 nights. Treadway off first. In there, says Doug Harvey. It's 0-1. It would really be a shot in the arm for the Braves to at least take a pair here from the Dodgers. Seems like there's something about beating the Dodgers and the Mets that might do more for you if you're trying to climb out of the cellar and to get something going than maybe beating a league leader if it's somebody else. The 0-1 to Gant. Backs him out of there. It's 1-1. One ball, 1 strike.
And it would be nice to win a couple in that next stop on this road trip, too. In Houston, Braves have really had problems there the last couple of years, including going 0 for 9 last year at the Dome.
Catches the outside corner. Gant doesn't agree with it. It's 1-2. And don't think players don't know that, and don't think they don't think about it. As hard as you try not to bring it up in conversation, somebody, and sometimes it's us, will remind them that they were 0-9 there.
It's all those quiet rides back to the hotels that you remember.
Gross working outside, inside, outside, inside. close to Gant has evened it at 2-2.
Watch that ball take off and tail in on Ron Gant.
If you're going to pitch Gant in, much like Justice, you better get it all the way in. If you leave it on the inside corner, that's right in the middle of their happy zone. It's 2-2 to Ron. Carter's going to go out and have a little talk with Gross. They have thrown Gant all fastballs, catching the outside corner with one, then coming back in to back him off the plate, going outside with a fastball, and then back in. They just want to make sure they're on the same page as what they want to do with it next. His pitching sequence has set up where he can either come inside with the fastball or he can go outside with the breaking ball. Treadway off first. Here's the 2-2 to Gant. Instead, they'll go over. Treadway wasn't very far off. There's the breaking ball right down the middle. He had Gant through. All he could do is look at it. Strikeout number 3 for Gross.
Ronnie just couldn't pull the trigger here. He was frozen by that pitch. Perfect spot.
Put the 4 fastballs in his mind and dropped the curveball in there for strike 3. That'll bring up David Justice. Justice a homer to lead off the second. His second homer of the year. He now leads the Braves in RBIs with 9. Batting average back up to 250. You mentioned earlier asking about the ball, maybe to disrupt Gross's timing. Pitchers have a rhythm, things that they do over and over. When you watch them, maybe you wonder why a pitcher would tug at his cap, tug at his belt. It's just a part of a ritual. Pitch to Justice inside, it's 1-0. And a lot of pitchers don't know they're doing those things over and over.
I was about to say the same thing. You can tell a player about that. Hitters have it too. David Justice has it. He always takes that walk just outside the circle around home plate before stepping back in. And you can tell the player about that ritual, and they'll say, what are you talking about?
Like Justice lifting his foot. He didn't know he lifted his foot to hit till he saw his poster.
Dale Murphy would always take 2 practice swings between each pitch. Never 1, never 3, always 2.
And Jim Presley would take half a night to get ready. Here's a 1-0. Justice lines it down the right field line, but it's going to be foul.
There he goes, that little walk again out to the grass portion.
He'll talk to himself as he comes back. Referring to Gross, a lot has been written lately, and we were telling you about it, how they have warned him about raising the seams on the ball. Chances are Kevin Gross is not doing anything to deface the ball. It's just a part of his preparation and his ritual. So more than just causing him to not be able to do something to the ball, you might disrupt his timing. Way inside, it's 2-1. And anytime you can throw a hitter or a pitcher out of sync, you'll see Braves batters step out against Tom Browning, wanting to slow him down. Well, I don't know whether or not Kevin Gross defaces the ball or not, but I wouldn't shoot dice with him over the phone. Foul away, it's 2-2.
You might win that match.
Would you like to elaborate on that since you're the analyst?
Well, since you were sort of somewhat
Yes.
underhandedly saying that you don't know whether Kevin Gross defaces the ball or not, but he may.
Right.
And you think he might.
Yep.
And you wouldn't want to get in a dice match on the telephone with him.
Yep. We got that part covered.
You are implying that
That maybe he might?
that maybe you never did.
Oh, no, I'd never say that. Curveball gets Justice. He's gone. That's strikeout number 3 for Gross.
As I say, I put my money on you.
Number 12, Sid Bream.
Good rotation of that breaking ball. Nice tight spin to it.
Gross is a high fastball pitcher that throws the ball upwards to 90, and overlooked in his repertoire is that he does have a good old-fashioned downer curveball, or as we called it when we were growing up in the South. He is a drop ball. Here's Bream. Walked and was erased on the botched hit and run by Pendleton. Carter threw him out. Treadway still at first. Outside corner, strike one.
Haven't seen him throw it yet tonight, but a few years ago when he was still with the Phillies, he came up all of a sudden one year with a real slow curveball, big breaking curveball that he uses a changeup. But he may have dumped that pitch, because he hasn't thrown it yet here.
We were talking about the defensive support he got last year. His 4 errors, first the pitch. There's that curveball, misses away, it's 1-1. The 4 errors allowed behind him were the second best in baseball. That Montreal infield, the Montreal defense did a great job for their pitching staff. The pitcher in baseball that got the best, or in the National League, that got the best defensive support was his teammate All-Can Boyd. 1-1 to Bream. Fouled away. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, you were talking about the fact that a good defense behind you isn't necessarily the one that makes the fewest errors, but makes the plays that have to be made. Tom Glavine has a stat that goes just the other way. Last year, he gave up more infield hits than any other starting pitcher in the major leagues. Those were plays that Braves infielders might be making this year for outs.
And that's a stat you would expect from a pitcher of his kind of stuff. This tailing fastball, pretty good breaking ball. Yeah, pitchers are smiling as they take the middle of the diamond with the Braves defense this year. 1-2 to Bream. Off speed, down low, it's 2-2.
And I think, don't you, that it's taken a week or so into the season before the pitchers have really begun to feel a little more comfortable with that improved defense? Because the first time around the rotation, it did appear that the pitchers were still nibbling a bit.
Yeah, and I think it's showing. And tonight, well, Tom Glavine hasn't walked anybody tonight. He's been ahead in most of the counts. Last night, Avery pitched ahead in the count most of the time. Outside, there goes Treadway. He's going to be... They're going to call him out. Looked like he beat the throw, but Carter's having a perfect night. 3 for 3. We'll take a look at it as we go out. Treadway gets a single. He's erased. No runs, a hit, and nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Braves lead it 1-0.
The Phillies, a new manager, Jim Fregosi, but the Phils continue their losing ways, bowing to the Mets 2-1. St. Louis over the Cubs again 4-2. Reds beat Houston 3-1. Chris Hammond got the win. And San Diego a 4-1 lead over San Francisco. They're in the 3rd. Quickly in the American League, Texas a winner. The Yankees won. Roger Clemens shuts out Toronto. Kansas City a winner. Chicago wins in the 4th inning. And Oakland a winner. Seattle leading early over California.
And back here at Dodger Stadium, it's 1-0 Braves. Brett Butler will lead it off. Butler singled to lead off the ball game, but Glavine picked him off, attempting to steal. Glavine has allowed 2 base runners. Butler was picked off. Murray led off the 2nd. There's a fly ball to shallow right. Dave Justice was playing right center. He'll take about the 20-step run and haul it in. 1 pitch, 1 out. Murray led off the 2nd with a single, but after Samuel struck out, Glavine induced Carter to hit it a 4-6-3 double play. So 2 base runners, nobody left stranded. He has faced 10. He's gotten 10 outs. Javier back with 1 out. We told you earlier he had to wonder what he has to do to crack the outfield at Oakland and here with the Dodgers. Glavine's first pitch misses away 1-0. How about coming down here and hitting leadoff for the Dodgers, and in that slot he hit 351. Well, he didn't play that much, and Samuel was moved into that spot. What did he hit? Oh, about 154. So eventually this young man has to figure something has to change for him. There are a lot of ball clubs who would like to have him in the front end of their lineup and would like to have him play every day. Dodgers have a couple of players like that. You can put Chris Gwynn into that category too. Here's the 1-1. Outside, it's 2-1. Javier, son of former Cardinal infielder Julian Javier, who incidentally made a career of hitting off me.
He was a good ball player.
Oh, good ball player. Used to hit the curveball right back up the middle.
Could steal a base on you, too.
Yes, he could. You couldn't ignore him. Because with Brock there was a tendency to leave him alone. Fastball is there, says Doug Harvey. It's 2-2. If you watch Javier all year, you'll notice that most of the time he'll hit the ball the other way in the air. He will pull it on the ground. The Braves defense him just like that. This time they don't have to worry. Glavine punches him out. That's his 4th strikeout of the night.
Well, you were talking, Don, about Glavine's control tonight. That's been indicated all night long. He's thrown 40 pitches in the ball game, has recorded 4 strikeouts, and of those 40 pitches, 26 strikes.
Well, Leo Mazzoni, and you've told the people the little notes, the little tidbits he passes on to his players as Strawberry stands in about the effects of throwing strikes. Here's another one. Gets a piece of Greg Olson. It's strike 1 to Strawberry. But unless you're sure, and we can't make this point too often, unless you're sure that when you make the pitch it's going to be caught when they hit it, you can have stone tablets with all the benefits of throwing strikes delivered to the pitchers. Now they're starting to believe it. Here's the 0-1. Right past Strawberry. Quickly, Glavine has him 0-2. Glavine tonight has had only 1 fly ball out in the 11 he has gotten. The grounder and the strikeout. Strawberry pops this one out of play. Still 0-2.
Tom Glavine also learned a lesson his last start. You might recall he got kind of a quick hook when he walked a couple of people in the 4th inning of his last start. And those runners eventually wound up scoring, and he wound up being the losing pitcher. But you remember things like that when you go out there next time.
Here's the 0-2 to Strawberry. Backs him out of there. It's 1-2.
What did Tommy say after that game against the Reds? He thought he had shutout stuff that night. And it looked over the first 3 innings like he did. Then he got a little wild in the 4th, and he was gone.
Right on by Strawberry. Strikes out 2 in a row. That's strikeout number 5 for Tom Glavine in only 4 innings of work. Let's have another look at the pitch as we go out. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Tom Glavine. No runs, no hits, no errors. We've completed 4. Braves 1, Dodgers nothing. Bream, as no official at bat, walked and was thrown out on a botched hit and run. He was at the plate. Downstairs, it's 1-0. That might be on Gross's mind because he's fallen behind 3-0. 3 balls and no strikes. That catches a piece of the plate. It's 3-1. Kevin Gross, like Bob Ojeda, for him a chance to play here in Dodger Stadium is coming home. He was born in Downey, California, about 15 miles down the freeway toward Anaheim. Here's a 3-1. Outside, he has walked Sid Bream to lead off the 5th inning. So the Braves get a base runner. That'll bring Terry Pendleton to the plate. Gross went to Fillmore High School out here and attended Cal Lutheran out in Thousand Oaks. That's where the Dallas Cowboys used to have their training site. Interesting hobby is likes to paint.
And is quite an accomplished artist. He has sold some of his paintings.
Cincinnati Reds used to have an outfielder, San Diego Padres. He played with them, too, who did a lot of Indian artwork, and I'll find the name in a second. Gene Locklear.
Gene Locklear, right.
Did some marvelous stuff.
From up in North Carolina.
Pendleton is 0 for 1, grounded to 3rd. Fouls this one back, it's 0-1. Gross was first selected by Baltimore back in 1979 in the 32nd round of the draft. Came back out in the draft in 1981. January, the Phillies selected him. Went from there to Montreal in a trade that brought Floyd Yeomans and Jeff Parent down to the Phillies, and then the Dodgers got him as a free agent last December. He's 0-1 pitch to Pendleton and doesn't get it. It's 0-2. A lifetime career earned run average of slightly over 4. He's 10 games under 500.
One thing you can always count on from Kevin Gross, though, is innings. He'll give you over 200 innings almost every year. Last year he didn't because of that broken finger.
But prior to that, 85 through 89, at least 201, and most of the time up around 230. Bream's at first. Here's the 0-2 to Pendleton. Outside corner, 1-2-3, go sit down. Call strike 3. That's strikeout number 5 for Kevin Gross.
And he went right after him with the count 0-2. Didn't bother to waste a pitch. Nailed that outside corner knee-high fastball.
That'll bring up Greg Olson. Olson was a strikeout victim. Out on call strikes. In the second, he was the first strikeout victim of the night for Kevin Gross. His average dropped all the way to 571. Doesn't get the high heater. It's strike 1. And those of you who are interested in the continuing Rob Dibble, Eric Yelding story, let me update you. Bill Doran, who played with Houston, as you know, and is now with the Reds, got the two together and arranged a 15-minute meeting with Dibble, Yelding, and Art Howe before last night's ball game. And Dibble apologized, and I guess all is sweetness and light now between Cincinnati and Houston.
And tonight, Rob Dibble went out and promptly picked up a save for Chris Hammond.
0-1 to Olson. Tomorrow night, Mike Morgan and John Smoltz. Gross picking at the corners, misses with this one. It's 1-1. (1958). Baseball came west. Bobby Cox looks on, and the Dodgers and the Giants. Walter O'Malley must have known something when he decided against San Francisco and decided to come down here to L.A. The ballpark here, one of the models for a lot that have been built. The attendance here, right, either 1 or 2 in all of baseball for years. San Francisco stuck with Candlestick Park, the Winds, and now looking for a new place to play. Here's the 1-1 to Olson. Lines it down the left field line. That'll get past Javier, who's over, cuts it off. Bream will stroll into third, and Olson has a double, the 4th hit of the night for the Braves. Puts Braves at second and third with 1 out.
And what a start he is off to, Greg Olson. He's now 9 for 15, has that average back up to 600. This is his second double of the year. Almost all of his hits have come to left field, too, either right down the line or line drive singles to left.
And that'll bring Rafael Belliard to the plate. Would you consider a squeeze here?
It's always a possibility.
Well, 1 run may be very large in this ball game. Dodgers will convince you they believe that because they're bringing the infield in. Hamilton at third, in close. Griffin, Samuel a couple of steps back. Murray at the grass. Gross misses with ball 1. And Olson has been doing some pretty good hitting against righties. You can't recall last year over 300 against lefties, but right at 200 against righties. So
it's almost getting to the point now where Bobby Cox is simply alternating Mike Heath and Greg Olson game to game because both are swinging such a hot bat.
Nice situation to be in. Olsen is at second. Bream is at third. It's 1-0 to Belliard. Braves looking to expand that 1-0 lead. Pitch out. Dodgers guessing squeeze. Guess wrong. It's 2-0 to Belliard. Jimmy Williams flashing the signs down the Belliard. Will go over and tell Sid Bream if yes, we are squeezing, no, we're not. And over in the Dodger dugout, Joey Amalfitano is calling pitch out, moving the infielders. We're playing chess. Outside, it's 3-0. Gross will want to throw a strike here unless the Dodgers decide to walk Belliard intentionally. What a great call it would be to squeeze here. You know he's going to throw it 3-0 right down the middle. Here's the 3-0. Nobody's going. It's ball 4. They're loaded for Tom Glavine. That might get, yes it does, it gets a trip to the mound from Ron Paranosky. It'll also start some people moving down in the Dodger bullpen. Paranosky made the call before he headed to the mound. There's Tim Cruz starting to throw. Paranosky, Carter, Griffin, all in talking to Kevin Gross. Catching Tim Cruz there is one of the most underrated, hardest working, best coaches in all of baseball. Mark Cressy. Mark was a catching prospect with the St. Louis Cardinals, got released. Dodgers need a batting practice pitcher. They hired him. He and Ned Yost, the job they have as bullpen coaches is a very thankless one, and Mark Cressy, one of the best in all of baseball. Glavine fouls it away. It's 0-1.
I sometimes think Mark Cressy must live at the ballpark. You can't beat him to the ballpark. He's the first guy out there to work out with the extra players when they want to take extra hitting.
And will throw all day long, every day, never complain. You want to throw extra? Mark is there. You want to hit extra? Mark is there. Actually in charge. There is a player, one of the not a player, but one of the coaches who's in charge of the balls that are supplied for batting practice, and he has to keep a count of how many are lost. That's Mark Cressy here. Glavine fouls away the 0-1 pitch. It's 0-2. There are a lot of people behind the scenes at a ballpark on a baseball team that never get noticed, who do a heck of a job. And certainly here with the Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda, one of the most visible managers. And it's very easy, and we do it a lot, just to focus on him and forget that one of his strong suits as a manager is he has surrounded himself with some people who know their phase of baseball. Paranosky, Joey Amalfitano, Bill Russell, and certainly Mark Cressy. Bases are full of Braves. Bream at third, Olsen at second, Belliard at first. It's 0-2 to Glavine. Just outside, 1-2. Glavine could really help himself with a knock here. Bobby Cox has already flashed his sign to Jimmy Williams. And here's the 1-2. Curveball in the dirt. Nice stop by Carter. Counts even at 2-2.
This saves a run. Took that long hop, kind of bounced back toward Gary Carter as he was going over there to block it.
Came up for him, which was good for the Dodgers, bad for the Braves, because he wasn't down to block it. If
that ball had skidded, a run is in.
There's a look at Olsen at second. Bream is over at third. There's Belliard at first. Counts even to Tom Glavine. One run out. We're in the top of the fifth. Braves lead it 1-0, threatening to put more on the boards. Some signs being flashed from the dugout by Joey Amalfitano, Carter, and Gross. And this is not a bad move. If there's any doubt, you know, a lot of catchers are reluctant, though, to go out. They'll go ahead and stick down a sign rather than making that trip to the mound.
A guy like Gary Carter wouldn't be reluctant, but a young catcher, especially in that situation.
Well, Gary Carter, a little like Carlton Fisk, they make more trips to the mound than their pitchers do. Here's the 2-2 to Glavine. In the dirt again. Again, a nice stop by Carter. The count's gone full, 3-2. That's a pretty good compliment for Tom Glavine. 2-2 curveball from Kevin Gross.
That, too, is in the dirt. Another good stop by Gary Carter. That ball did skid a little bit.
Here's the 3-2 to Glavine. He takes it, ball 4, and Kevin Gross has walked Glavine to walk in the second run of the ball game. It's bad enough to walk the pitcher, but to walk him with the bases loaded, Braves take a 2-0 lead. Credit Glavine with an RBI.
Left fielder.
That's going to be it for Kevin Gross. Here comes Ron Peronowski out. 3 walks in the inning. And the Dodgers don't want to see a big inning develop here. So Kevin Gross's night is over.
And you wouldn't want to be in Kevin Gross's shoes as he heads off of the field here. Fans can sometimes be very cruel. Obviously, a pitcher not trying to walk him. But when you're a very visible, and especially when you're a visible free agent coming into a city like Los Angeles, fans have short memories and are not very patient.
Fans forget that Kevin Gross had tremendous success against the Dodgers when he pitched as a Philly and as a Montreal Expo.
And he had a lot of it right here in this ballpark. He was perfect in Dodger Stadium. Candelaria has been throwing. Cruz has been throwing. It's Tim Cruz who is going to get the call. As he comes in to throw, we're going to break away. Braves lead it 2-0. We'll be right back.
52, Tim Cruz.
Tim Cruz is a new Dodger pitcher. Kevin Gross is out of there, and not only is it hard on a guy like Kevin Gross when you're taken out of the ball game, but it's a little bit of a difficult, uncomfortable situation for his teammates, too. You don't want to ignore the guy, but what do you say? Only Mike Scioscia, who has seen it happen a lot and certainly has empathy and sympathy for his pitchers, bothered to pat him on the fanny. There's really not a whole lot you can say.
And if you do say something, it might come out wrong and even upset a pitcher like Kevin Gross more.
Usually what you hear is, get him next time, stay with him, it'll turn around. Well, it's in the hands of Tim Cruz now. He inherits a bases-loaded one-out situation. His record up to this date, he's been in 10 innings, 1 homer, 8 strikeouts. Saw him briefly last night.
All those walks in this inning issued by Kevin Gross when he left the game, a very unusual ball-strike ratio. It's very seldom you see a pitcher throw as many pitches as Gross threw and throw more balls than strikes, but he did. He threw 86 pitches, only 42 strikes, and 44 were out of the strike zone.
And the 3 walks this inning have led to a 2-0 Braves lead. We go to the top of the order. It's Deion Sanders. And Deion has Greg Olson at third. He has Rafael Belliard at second. And pitcher Tom Glavine is at first. Still only 1 out. Off speed, low, 1-0. For Cruz, it's his 5th ball game for the Dodgers.
You may wonder why Tommy Lasorda didn't bring in a left-hander, Candelaria, with 2 lefties due up, Sanders and Treadway. One reason is Candelaria is the only lefty he's got in the bullpen. He might want to save him for later if the game stays close.
Deion pops up the high fastball. It's headed back toward the screen. Carter runs out of room as the ball drops behind the screen. It's 1-1 to Sanders.
And I think another reason, Don, in Deion Sanders' situation, he is so new to the National League, has not seen a lot of these pitchers before. I don't think the righty-lefty thing comes into play as much with him as it might with a more seasoned player.
That's a good point.
Gary Carter with the old college try. I'll tell you what, he has played like that. I saw Gary Carter for the first time in the International League in 1974 with Memphis. Saw him climb up a screen in the ballpark at Tidewater to make a catch of a foul ball.
The 1-1 to Sanders. Line to right field. It'll get in. Strawberry will cut it off. Olson will score. They're sending Belliard home. The throw goes to second, to the plate. Out, says Doug Harvey.
Cruz hung that pitch up above the belt on Deion Sanders, who ripped it into right field. Strawberry's throw goes to second. When the throw goes there, they wave the second runner around third. A good relay throw home. Gary Carter's got that plate blocked, and Rafael Belliard simply couldn't get in there.
Belliard hesitated a little at third. There's Carter without the ball, blocks the plate. That is supposed to be defensively wrong. Treadway taps one to Hamilton. He'll throw out Treadway. That'll end the inning, but not before the Braves pick up a pair. They do it compliments of 3 walks and a pair of hits. As we head to the bottom of the 5th, Braves hold a 3-0 lead.
Now, when you buy any size of...
At 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Don Sutton being joined by Skip Carey from over in radio. And Skip, it looks like Tom Glavine and the other pitchers are convinced this defense is going to be better. He's throwing strikes.
He sure is. He's looked great, and if the Braves pitching keeps going like it's gone here recently, it's going to be a very happy year for the Atlantic City.
Do you think it means more for a club like Atlanta that's trying to climb to the top to beat somebody like the Dodgers than maybe it would to beat a Houston, even if they were in first place?
No.
You don't think so?
No,
you don't think the Dodger image and...
Forget the image. If you win 90 games, you're in the pennant race. If you don't, it doesn't matter.
The Dodgers will send up Murray, Samuel, and Carter as we begin play here in the bottom of the 5th. Glavine has allowed 2 base runners, a leadoff single to Butler, and then picked him off. Murray led off the second with a single after Samuel struck out. Carter hit into a 4-6-3 double play. So in 4 innings of play, Glavine has faced a minimum 12 batters. There's what Skip was talking about the team ERA, the pitching so much better. A full 2.5 runs a ball game. First pitch to Murray is down low. You didn't get your new scorebook yet?
No, I've had 2 producers tell me they had it for me, but...
And one
partner.
Checks in, books in the mail.
0 for 3.
Headed to right field, down near the foul pole, and just foul. So Murray comes close, but it's strike 1, 1-1. That was a long run for David Justice. Braves play Murray to pull. Justice was over near right center field. One ball, one strike. He'll try the other side. That's foul. It's 1-2. 3-5-0 for the Braves. Dodgers 0-2-0. Murray's single in the second put his batting average up to 379. He and Mike Scioscia, number 1 and number 2 in hitting for the Dodgers. Speed outside. The count's even. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Even though the Braves lead tonight, so far this whole thing has looked like a Gary Carter retrospective. Man, he has been sensational. Blocking the plate, throwing out runners.
What is he, 3 for 3 throwing out base runners? Mike Scioscia taught him, there's a look at Gary, taught him very quickly, although it is technically against the rules, it is okay to block the plate without the ball. Did he hold up? They're going to say he didn't go around. Jim Quick making the call down at first base. The count's gone full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Murray working on a 7-game hitting streak. When did they allow visitors in the booth to come all the way up from the truck?
Well, now he's given me some pages, but not a scorebook.
On the ground, Pendleton cuts it off, the 360 to Breen. Nice play, Pendleton. Murray's gone.
This is why the Braves got Terry Pendleton, because he can make that play, and most third basemen cannot. That's a base hit to left field with many guys out there.
Well, Pendleton has done it with regularity in the last 4 seasons. He's picked up a pair of Gold Gloves. That'll bring up Samuel. He's 0 for 1. Leads the Dodgers in RBIs. He's going to lay one down, and Pendleton will let it roll. Strike 1.
If you can keep it on the grass here, you got a chance for a hit. But if it gets on that dirt, it goes at about a 70-degree angle into foul territory.
Pete and I were talking last night about that. You recall coming in here when the Dodgers had the good bunters and the speed when they would angle that back toward the middle. So you could not assume it was going to kick foul. Now, normal, slants away.
Be interesting to see when the Cardinals come to town if the Braves, if Ed Mangan is going to be like. I remember when Gerald Perry was playing first base for us and the Cardinals were coming. Gerald was going through a pair of shoes a night. He was in a bog down there at first base.
It's 0-1 to Samuel. Upstairs, 1-1. Samuel leads the Dodgers with 3 homers. He got all 3 of them against the Padres. Off Glavine's glove to Belliard to Breen. Score that 1-6-3. And that's 8 in a row. That's 10 in a row set down by Tom Glavine.
Number 8, Gary Carter.
And the defensive man of the hour for the ball game, and he is receiving a nice vote of support from the fans, is Gary Carter. Actually went to spring training with the Dodgers without a contract.
The book on him was that he couldn't throw anymore, but he's throwing all right.
He's been right on the money tonight, and with quick release.
I mean, he got Bream and he got Treadway, neither of whom are Blazers, but he also got Deion Sanders.
Who is? Look at this. Up in first 11 games, only 2. Carter has gotten 3. It's 2-0 to Carter. Still doesn't run well. Hit into a 4-6-3 double play his last AB. There's the Paisano. Is that close enough?
Yes. No, not really.
Carter looks at it. Strike 1, says Doug Harvey.
Tommy has been, excuse me, Don, but Tommy's been sort of subdued in this season, not throwing stuff around or stomping around the dugout.
I was going to say, these have been somewhat trying times for him. The Dodgers came out of spring training written about a lot and picked to get off to a hot start. High in the air, over near second. Belliard will take charge. He'll grab it. That's 11 in a row set down by Tom Glavine. It's another easy 1-2-3 inning. Dodgers go in order. We played 5. Braves lead it 3-0.
3-0 our score as we go to the 6th inning. Here's our safeguard safe at second feature. The Braves were over 80% when the game started. They're down to 75% now, but still much better than they've run in recent years. Your old pal Steve Garvey, one of the faces in the crowd here at the ballpark tonight. That was our, Steve didn't have anything to do with it, but that was our safeguard safe at second feature.
Sometimes when he played first, they were safe at second.
Center fielder.
There's a look.
Ronnie Gant.
Still very popular. Gant will lead it off with the Braves. Cruz's first pitch is in there, strike 1. Here's the 0-1 from Cruz. Line down the left field line. Gant will round it at first. He's going to head for 2. Javier's throw, and it's a stand-up double to lead off the 6th for Ron Gant.
Right fielder, David Justice.
He was off stride here. Look, he was way out in front and just sort of flicked the bat out there, and that's a good job of hitting. He was off stride, but he kept his hands back. Watch. See how he kept the hands back? Thus he was able to handle the pitch.
Kept the upper half of the body in the strike zone. That's Gant's 3rd double. That'll put him at second. It'll bring Justice to the plate. He started the scoring for the Braves tonight. solo homer to lead off the second. He'll be trying to get Gant to third.
And he also made a lady down in Augusta $1,025 in a radio home run jackpot.
Inside corner, strike one. Were you on the air then?
I was doing the play-by-play, and I assumed she'll split the money with me, but I haven't heard from her yet.
That's the assumption I would make. You gave away a lot of bucks in there last year, didn't you? You and Dave O'Brien, who works Braves games on our radio network. High in the air, right side. This will not get Gant to third. It will be an easy play for Samuel. One out, and here comes Sid Bream. Of the four who rotate and do radio, Dave O'Brien, Pete Van Wieren, Skip Carey, and yours truly, 3 gave away money last year.
Who did not? You?
I.
Well,
Another large Oprah.
I've been to dinner with you, and that sort of holds true. Story of your life.
It wasn't last time.
Well, that was John Smoltz's one.
You had Billy Barty arms last time. But John was kind and generous. Here's the first pitch to Bream. Strike one. Gant at second. Down the right field line. That'll be a fair ball. It'll be 2 for Bream. It'll be a 4-0 lead for the Braves.
If you want to be technical, that's a book rule double for a fan touch the ball down in the right field corner, but it is a double and it is an RBI, his 7th of the year, and he got all of it. And the Dodger bullpen, which was a question mark, is struggling again tonight. In a way, the Dodgers have to be cheered about Kevin Gross because he had good stuff tonight. He had no control at all. They're going to want Pendleton. But he pitched. At least he had good stuff, which is more than he could say his first 3 starts.
The walk will put runners at first and second. It'll bring Greg Olson to the plate. And for the Dodgers, this is something unusual. Not getting off to a good start at Dodger Stadium. They usually play well here. Last year, 47-34. But much like the Braves, done their winning on the road. Look at the Dodger bench, the coaching staff. Bill Russell setting up the defense in the outfield. You can pretty much tell what the score is or who's leading when you pan the dugouts, the amount of life, the activity going on. Olson off to a red-hot start. He's hitting an even 600. 1 for 2 tonight, a strikeout, a double. He has scored 1. The breaking ball drops in there. It's 0-1.
Last night, 12 hits for the Braves, 11 of them singles. Tonight, 3 doubles and a homer already, and we're in the 6th.
The win here would be a great start for what has always been a tough road trip for the Braves. The Braves go from L.A. to Houston that have not fared well in the Dome. Fastball catches the corner and may have caught Olson guessing. It's 0-2. Bream at second. Pendleton's your runner at first. Olson and Heath continue to produce from the 7th spot in the lineup. Right now hitting well over 400. Cruz just misses with that one. It's 1-2. Olson doesn't get the breaking ball. Cruz registers his first strikeout. 2 gone for Rafael Belliard.
Rafael Belliard.
Cruz really needed to throw a strike here. He just missed it.
Good spot for the curveball. 4-0 Braves. Belliard looking for his first hit of the evening. He has struck out. He's walked. Was thrown out back in the 5th trying to score on the base hit by Deion Sanders. On the corner, but a little bit high. 1-0. Carter out of that school of catching that makes it very clear where he wants the ball. Look at the target. And the pickoff, they got him. The play call from the bench from Gary Carter. Cruz wheels, and they have picked off Sid Bream. We'll take another look at it as we close this half of the inning. The throw to second, he's there. Braves get a base runner. They leave one stranded as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Nia now lead it 4-0. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th. Tom Glavine and the Braves have a 4-0 lead. Glavine has held the Dodgers to a pair of singles. Has retired the last 11 that he's faced since giving up a single to Murray to lead off the second inning. Murray was eventually erased on a double play. So in 5 innings of work, Tom Glavine has faced the minimum 15 batters. Mike Hartley is throwing down in the Dodger bullpen. Cruz is spot in the lineup, 3rd due up. Jeff Hamilton will lead it off for the Dodgers. Glavine, there's a look at Hartley. Glavine got Hamilton on a grounder to second baseman Jeff Treadway to lead off the 3rd inning. This one off the end of the bat, headed for left field. Gann is there. Sanders is there. It's Deion taking charge. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's 12 in a row set down by Glavine.
As you can see, Glavine is rolling right along here with a minimum of pitches. 37 of those are strikes.
And a complete turnaround from his last outing when he had trouble finding the strike zone. Alfredo Griffin will hit with 1 out in the 6th. Griffin grounded to short. Looks at an inside fastball, 1-0. Alfredo is coming off of a pretty good road trip. There you see his average was really struggling until he faced San Diego. On the ground, backhanded by Treadway. To Bream, gone. Nice play by Treadway.
Treadway knew he had time, threw it a little bit low, but Bream is death on those low throws and dug it up.
And with 2 gone, the Dodgers will send up a pinch hitter. It'll be Jose Gonzalez. Cruz is out of there. Hartley will be on.
Don, did you ever have a problem with blisters in your career?
I never did.
I was wondering, I was surprised to see in the Braves notes that Avery has jotted down for Saturday's game in Houston. You think he'll be able to bounce back that quickly?
If they can come up with something to toughen it. You recall early in his career, Nolan Ryan struggled with the blister, and I think he got thousands of home remedies for it. Gonzalez fouls away the first pitch. But what you have to do, and as Steve said in the pregame interview, he was really sweating last night, and the skin got soft there, and as he continued to pitch, the four-seam fastball kept pulling on it. Chances are he'll have to experiment with some grip that'll take a little of the pressure off of it.
We used to have some stuff when I was playing football in high school. That's a long time ago. Called Tough Skin that you would put on your feet so you wouldn't get blistered. I wonder if you couldn't just do that.
It still has to be around. I remember using that pitching in high school.
Yellowish, guppy stuff.
And smelled ugly. But it got the job done. Call strike 3. Glavine does it again. That's 3 more in a row set down. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Tom. Dodgers go in order in the 6th. We have completed 6 here at Dodger Stadium as you have another look at the call strike 3. Braves lead it 4-0.
This is where it happened. The breakthrough
4-0. A reminder, it's the NBA on TNT. The playoffs are starting. First round action, a doubleheader on Thursday. It's the Knicks against the Bulls. and followed by the Rockets against the Lakers. Then on Friday, another doubleheader. It's Indiana versus Boston, round one action there, followed by Seattle versus Portland. That's Friday, beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern on TNT. Here at Dodger Stadium, Tom Glavine has been dealing. The Dodgers have a new pitcher in Mike Hartley. Kevin Gross, Tim Cruz, the first two, Hartley the third. There you see his numbers. The Braves will send up Rafael Belliard, Tom Glavine, and Deion Sanders. And to take you home, here's Skip.
Okay, Don, thanks. Belliard has walked and struck out. Dodger pitchers have struck out 6, but they've walked the same number. Yep, wall-to-wall basketball coverage on TNT tomorrow night. And really for the next month or 6 weeks.
We'll be losing our partner Pete Van Weeren for a little while. He's working Friday in Portland on these games.
And he's here. I don't know when he works in Portland, but he works here whenever the first game is. Shot to short. One pitch. One out. Belliard is retired. Tom Glavine will be the batter, and the Braves pitcher has walked twice. He's taking a little time to get to the plate, which gives us time to remember we have our new contest starting on May 3rd when we get home. The question of the night. If you have a question, send it.
Oh, no.
Send it to that man. Isn't that beautiful? Glenn Diamond in care of TBS Sports.
And get it there in 3, 2, 1 days.
Where did they find that? The pitch to Glavine.
I think that's from Lori Brooks's wedding picture. Glenn was giving them their premarital counseling.
Hartley delivered. Anyway, that address again, Glenn Diamond, TBS Sports, 1 CNN Center, Atlanta 30303, and an autographed picture of the Braves broadcast team, and Glenn Diamond will be your pride. Line foul down the left side. Strange job of pitching by, it's easy to second guess, of course, but Gross with the bases loaded, 1 out, had Glavine hitting, got 2 fastballs by him, 0-2, threw a change and 2 curves to run it 3-2.
And then missed with the fastball.
So why not just keep throwing the fastball? The 1-2, got it. So 2 quick outs, and Hartley has his first strikeout. Deion Sanders will be the batter.
Well, the graphics we keep seeing flashing on the screen are compliments of our graphics operator, Patrick Carroll. We want to wish him happy birthday, number 29.
All right, Patrick. Sanders has singled twice. He's driven in a run. He's 2 out of 3. He's been caught stealing and hit into a double play, both of which a little surprising. He's raised his average to 265. Looked like he guessed wrong on that one, 0-1.
Hartley has a nasty split finger or fork ball or whatever you want to call it. It depends on who's teaching it and what part of the country you're in, what they name it. Stu Miller called it a fork ball. It does the same thing as the split finger.
Downstairs, a ball and a strike. Don Sutton, Skip Carey with you from Dodger Stadium. Braves 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors. Dodgers 0-2-0, and Braves left-handers bedoubled them in the first 2 games of this series to this point. Just missed inside, 2-1. The split finger is low. It's 3-1. Understand the phone just rang down in our TV truck. Wonder who that was.
I don't think it was the president calling.
The 3-1 pitch. Sanders steps out of the batter's box just as Hartley is ready to deliver. In case you joined us late, I know Pete and Don covered it earlier, but Orel Hershiser pitched pretty well in a simulated game for the Dodgers. 3 innings, 52 pitches, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. There's a strike to Sanders. And he's surprised about that one. He wasn't trying to show the umpire up. He thought it was ball 4. He doesn't say a word. He gets back in. He knows that the umpires are sort of checking him out here. The 3-2 outside. He walked it. A 2-out walk, the 7th Dodger pass.
Yeah.
of the night. Here's Jeff Treadway. He's 1 out of 3.
And what Deion Sanders is finding, Skip, is that, and it's one of your pet peeves, is that there is a definition of the strike zone in the rule book, but when you change leagues, you get different pitches called strikes.
Well, I'm going to have to track down Bill White and just ask him if, in fact, the strike zone is going to be from the knees to the belt. Put it in the rule book.
Well, that's certainly where it is here in the National League. You cannot throw a letter-high pitch and get it called a strike in the National League.
Hartley comes set. Will Deion try again for the first? He scrambles back. Braves have had a runner thrown out at the plate. They've had 3 out stealing and 1 picked off second. Still, they lead 4-0. The stretch. There he goes. Pitch out. He's safe this time. The throw pops away. He's going to try, and he's going to get to third. I wonder if they have our signs. That's the second time they've pitched out with a runner going, but this time Carter, for the first time, made a mistake, threw it low. It's a stolen base for Deion. He's 5 out of 6 and an error on Carter.
And Gary's not happy, too, because he knows he had plenty of time. Deion on the move. The pitch out was there. Easy one to handle. Carter had plenty of time, but just flat threw it in the dirt. Watch how quickly Sanders pops out of there. Look how quickly he's on. Full speed. Doesn't look back. Head down. In head first.
Now watch him go.
And he's in at full tilt about 2 steps after he pops up.
So he's at third with 2 out. That was the Dodgers' 19th error of the year. This is their 14th game.
Well, the Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda, Fred Clare, have pretty much gone for marquee value in some of the players that they've added, and they've gone for offense. The sacrifice that they have had to make is that they haven't made the defense better, and the pitching is going to suffer because of it.
Popped him up, foul territory. Carter can't locate it. Now he comes back, but he'll have no play. It reaches the seats. He broke the wrong way on that ball, but he had no play in any event. Even though he just made that error, he's had a terrific night defensively. 2 balls and a strike on Jeff Treadway. Runner at third, 2 out. Braves go for some 7th inning insurance. The 2-1. Just missed outside. Ronnie Gant will be next. Reds beat the Astros tonight, 3-1.
Have you noticed how pitchers, when they have a curveball and a slider, fastball, they seem to mix them up well?
Popped him up to shoot. That'll end the inning. Treadway flips the bat away in disgust, and Hamilton makes the catch, and the inning is over. No hits, no runs, a stolen base, an error, and 1 left. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Braves lead it. It's 4-0. Bottom half of the 7th inning. Top of the order for the Dodgers. It will be Butler, Javier, and Strawberry due against Tom Glavine, who is rolling merrily along. He has set down 14 of the Little Devils in a row since Eddie Murray singled in the 2nd inning. Butler singled in the first, dropped a blooper in front of Deion Sanders, and Deion, it looked like he lost that ball in the lights and then trapped it, or it would be a 1-hit game to this point.
Almost pulled off a good acting job, too, but Gary Darling hustling out there was close enough to make the call, and you see it bounce into his glove.
Look at the fans heading for home here. They are pouring up the aisles. It's amazing.
Well, it is the 7th inning.
Pendleton in close at third for Butler. Low and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Tomorrow night's game, for those of you in the Southeast, will be on Sports South at 10:30 with Ernie Johnson and Chip Terry. The 1-0. At the knees, the count evens, a ball and a strike. Butler now 6 out of 17 against Tom Glavine in his career. He's hitting .245. see the great line on Glavine.
But that is not correct. He hasn't given up a run yet.
Oh, did they have a run up there?
It's had 6 runs, 2 hits. It has six innings.
That was right.
6 innings, 2 hits, 1
That was
run.
right. That was right.
Thank you.
2 balls and a strike. Pop foul back and out of play. If the other producers would quit calling and bothering the concentration of our people down there, we'd be in great shape. 2-2, the count to Butler.
Either there's something strange in the water, or those are called rally caps, or both.
How abundantly silly. Didn't do much good there, did it? That's the 7th strikeout of the night for Glavine, and the 3rd time in this series Brett Butler has struck out, and that's news.
Tom Glavine is showing 3 exceptional pitches tonight. This a dandy curveball. Nothing Butler could do with it. Take a look from this angle. He is completely off balance, fooled, can't even touch it. Just tried to flick it away. Glavine's also showing a good riding fastball and his old natural tailing fastball and good control.
Stan Javier is the batter. 15 in a row set down by Glavine. What a performance. Tried to bunt his way on and missed the change. It's 0-1.
Not a bad play. The 1 run here is not going to tie the Braves, but it's anything when you're being set down as effectively as Glavine has done the Dodgers. You have to do anything. You're thinking with the Dodgers, anything to get a base runner.
Darryl Strawberry is next. Looped into right field. Justice is there. Back 5 steps, 2 up. 16 in a row knocked off by Glavine. Did you get the item on George Brett out for a month with another knee problem?
No.
Yeah, it came over the wire just about game time.
Well, that's just what Kansas City needs. They've already been, I've already found out that the reliever Mark Davis is going to be out for
4 to 6 weeks. And Bo, of course, in spring training. You know, if Bo doesn't play anymore and he loses his Nike deal, you know what he will be called?
No, he said. What will he be called?
Shoeless Bo Jackson. The 0-1 pitch. Downstairs, it's 1-1.
That should get another call.
I hope not. Other sports news that came in: Wayne Gretzky will try to play tomorrow despite 25 stitches. Man. That takes a little courage. Chin music. 2 balls and a strike. 4-0 Atlanta.
Well, with the Rockets' new contract, he has additional responsibilities he has to pay for now.
And he's involved in that deal. 2-1 the count. Glavine to Strawberry. Popped him up. In foul territory. Pendleton and Olson. Who wants it? Pendleton. Olson almost threw that mask right in his path. But Pendleton made the catch, and Glavine continues to pitch brilliantly. Nothing doing in the 7th. We move on to the 8th inning, and the Braves lead by 4.
To Philadelphia on the field level.
Here's a look at our Delta scoreboard. They're all finals except San Francisco. It was Pittsburgh 7-3 over Montreal, New York by 1 over the Phillies. St. Louis double Chicago. That score 4-2. Cincinnati beat Houston 3-1. And up in San Francisco, they're in the 6th inning with the Giants getting 4 runs in the first. They lead San Diego. San Diego leads the Giants 7-4. In the American League, Texas over Milwaukee by 1. They had to go 11 to do it. New York shut out Detroit. Clemens wins. They beat Toronto 3-zip. Kansas City 6-0 over Cleveland. Slugfest in Chicago. They're leading Baltimore 10-1 as they play in the 8th. 7-5 Oakland over Minnesota. And down the freeway a bit, Seattle leads California 2-0. And for complete scores and highlights, tune in to CNN Sports Late Night at 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern Daylight with Tom Steiner.
Ronnie Gant.
Nicely done, Don. And Ronnie Gant will lead off the 8th inning. 4-0 Atlanta. Don't forget the Braves home again a week from Friday night against the Cubbies. Always a lot of fun when Chicago comes to town. They have many fans in our area. Friday night, 7:40. Saturday night, 7:10. There's the Exodus in Dodger Stadium. And game time is, I think, 1:10 on Sunday, followed by the Beach Boys concert. The 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. That weekend, we're giving away batting helmets one night. Where have I put my promos? Squeeze bottles Friday night. Batting helmets Saturday night.
And the Beach Boys concert on Sunday.
We're not giving away the Beach Boys, but you can listen to their music.
For an additional surcharge, you get the ball game and the Beach Boys concert.
2 balls and a strike is the count.
And those of you who don't want to see the Beach Boys, get to leave early and beat the traffic.
Or if you don't want to see the ball game, you
come late to the Beach Boys. Something for everybody.
The 2-1 line left center field. Javier on the run. He can't get there. It drops for a hit. Ronnie Gant is banging his way out of it. He had 2 hits last night. He has 2 hits tonight. He's now 4 out of 9 in the series. Here's David Justice, 1 for 3.
Right field.
Well, you pointed out he had been watching some videos, and he really picked up something. The upper half of his body staying in. Gant is really swinging the bat, and the result, base hits are starting to fall for him.
Braves seek some 8th inning insurance. Justice, Bream, and Pendleton with a chance to do some damage against Mike Hartley. Smoltz and Morgan tomorrow. Be on Sports South on the Braves radio network. There goes Gant. Now he stops. Carter throws through, and Gant gets back. Boy, he made a heck of a throw there, but to the wrong base.
Once you come out of there to throw to second, might as well go ahead and throw it. And a perfect one it was.
He might have had a shot if he'd have thrown behind the runner to pick him off. Justice at 239 on the year. Fouls this one away, and he's in the hole. 0-2.
Point I was going to make last inning when Jeff Treadway popped out is, have you noticed how when a pitcher has the repertoire of a curveball, slider, fastball, changeup, they're mixed, usually about a third. But when a pitcher has the split finger fastball, anytime he gets a runner on, it's almost like they throw it one right after the other and don't mix in on any of the other pitches.
The 0-2 pitch is hit to second. Can they turn it? One there. Safe there. He can really run. He gets out of, for a power hitter, he gets out of the batter's box about as well as anyone. Fielder's choice, 4-6, retires Gant at second.
Good pitch from Hartley in on the hands, got the ground ball. Samuel gets rid of it in a hurry, but Gant gets close to Griffin. And the point you made is a good one. Justice hustles all the time. He did such a great job offensively last year, hitting the home runs, that I think overlooked are 2 things. He has one of the best arms in the National League, and he hustles all the time.
Sid Bream has had a nice evening. He's walked twice. He's doubled in a run. He's scored 1. Rounded to first. Murray backs up and steps on the bag for the out. The runner goes to second. 2 away for Pendleton.
I think you have to call this an accidental out. I don't believe that Eddie Murray is looking for the bag. He's just trying to catch the ball and happened to be standing on the bag. Nothing he could do about Justice going to second.
So Pendleton stands in. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. The Braves have garnered 7 passes tonight. Pendleton, one of those guys you were saying the other night, Dan, that just grows on you. They're going to walk him here and pitch to Olsen. That's their 8th walk of the evening.
Well, when you watch him play at St. Louis, I don't think he ever really did anything in spectacular fashion. Sure, he won a couple of Gold Gloves. That in itself should be spectacular, but he was the kind of guy that was always around 250, 255. He'd hit you 9, 10, maybe 11 homers. He'd make the plays, but did none of it in flashy style, and I think only when you can watch him during spring training and then for maybe 2 weeks in a row can you really appreciate what he has added to this ball club.
And the pitching pairings in Houston, all first telecast at 8:35. Charlie Leibrandt against Jim DeShays. Then at 8:05 Saturday, Steve Avery against Pete Harnish. And Sunday at
2:35 Eastern.
Thank you. It'll be Tom Glavine against Jimmy Jones. Both of them pitched tonight. 2 on, 2 out. Olson's hit a double. Didn't mean to, and it's bounced foul, and Olson a little upset with himself. He had a pitch to hit, a hanging split finger, but
couldn't pull the trigger on it. Couldn't get the bat out of the way.
Field. Back goes Javier. Still going, still going. Good catch. Olson flirted with a 3-run homer, but Javier raced to the left field wall and hauled in his long drive. 1 hit, no runs. No errors, 2 left. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Braves lead it 4-0.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Daihatsu from Japan, makers of Charade automobiles and Rocky 4x4.
Bottom half of the 8th inning. There's the story of the game. The other story is 17 in a row knocked off by Tom Glavine. Murray, Samuel, and Carter will be the first 3 against him. Murray has hit the ball sharply tonight. He's 1 out of 2.
And thanks to a pickoff and a double play, Tom Glavine has faced the minimum 21 in 7 innings.
First baseman, Eddie Murray.
Jim Gott starts to throw down in the Dodger bullpen.
Murray and Olson talk it over. And we're ready to go.
And Glenn Serra from Braves PR is coming into the booth, rapidly scribbling down bits of information that we need to complete the night.
Out of play, 0-1.
I think it's a 4.
If the Braves win tonight, their 4-game road winning streak would be their longest since a 7-game streak in '86. Outside. 1-1 is the count. Pete Smith had an excellent start last night down in Macon, striking out 10 in 4 2/3 innings. The change, and Murray was out in front, and it's 1-2. 27,737 paid here tonight. They've seen a masterful pitching performance. Pop foul back, count stays the same.
Tom Glavine has done a good job, as you saw right there, of working not only change-up, curveball, but in and out, up and down in the strike zone. Went down and away with the off-speed pitch, got Murray out front, comes right back with an up-and-in fastball.
Nobody on or out, bottom of the 8th. That acted like a screwball as it sailed outside, and the count is 2-2.
Glavine experimented with a different changeup this spring and never could get comfortable with it. So when he got back to Atlanta and the season started, he just junked it and went back to his old one, which 2 years ago was very effective.
The 2-2 to Murray. Just missed the outside corner. Olson held it there, but Doug Harvey said no, and the count is full. That hasn't happened very often tonight.
A lot of strikes, almost a 2-to-1 ratio. 4-0 lead. What he doesn't want to do is walk. Here it is. See how far you can hit it.
There's Pendleton. And there's out number 1, 18 in a row. What a job of pitching. Juan Samuel, the batter. He has struck out and hit one back up the middle that was deflected by Glavine to Belliard. A 1-6-3 at first. The only hits, a looping Butler single to left in the first and a single by Murray in the second. Butler was picked off, caught stealing, and Murray was erased in a double play. tailed away from the right-hand hitter. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, he's been so effective that only 3 of the 22 putouts have been made by the outfielders. All the rest coming on groundouts or strikeouts.
Through the fastball right by him. 1-1. When you can throw, when you have command of 3 pitches, it makes that guessing game for the hitter a dicey situation.
And we've seen some swings from some Dodgers tonight who seem to be very surprised and overpowered by his high fastball.
2 balls and a strike. You talk about complete control of a situation. That's been Glavine's story in this game tonight. You can't pitch much better than he has in this game. But he falls behind 3-1. He still has good velocity, but he went 3-2 on Murray, got him out. Now he's 3-1 on Samuel. Base hit, center field. That interrupts a string of 18 straight men set down by Tom Glavine.
And you would much rather see this from Tom Glavine than to see him walk Samuel. 3-1, came back in there, had a good chance of getting an out, but if you walk him, you're the only person doing any work there. Only the 3rd base hit of the night for the Dodgers.
Well, Carter hit into a double play last night as a pinch hitter, hit into a double play in the 2nd tonight. If he'll do it again, he'll still have faced the minimum. But that's asking a good deal.
And the first time Tom Glavine has pitched from the stretch since the 2nd inning.
The Braves bullpen begins to stir. Popped him up down the right side. Everybody chasing it. Justice on the run. He's there. He's got it in foul territory. They had him played perfectly. 2 out. And Jeff Hamilton is the batter.
Righty-lefty combination down in the Braves bullpen. It'll be Merker and Sisk who are throwing behind him. Merker, the lefty, Sisk, the righty.
Hamilton has bounced to second, fly to left. Runner at first and 2 down. The knees, outside edge, 0-1.
Rally caps didn't work. We're going to go to the beret look. See if that can get something going.
0-2 is the count.
2 things in baseball that have to be difficult is when you're getting beat and you're bored.
Yeah, Tommy won't allow those guys to read the Wall Street Journal in the dugout.
And the cellular phones have to stay in the locker room.
The 0-2 pitch. And the inning is over. Strikeout number 8 for Glavine, 1 away from his career high. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 left. We go to the 9th inning. The Braves are breezing. It's 4-0. We go to the 9th inning. There's the story of the game. And Jim Gott is the new pitcher for the Dodgers. You see his numbers. He appeared in the game last night. They used 5 pitchers last night, 4 pitchers tonight to this point.
6th appearance for Gott. There you see his numbers. Averaging almost a walk an inning. Right at a strikeout an inning.
The Braves will have Belliard, Glavine, and Sanders here in the 9th. The Dodgers, Griffin, the pitcher, and Brett Butler are the scheduled hitters. Belliard is hitless in 2 at-bats. He's 0 for 7 in the series, but he's played flawless shortstop.
Shortstop, Rafael Belliard.
If he can hit 230, 240, the Braves will be thrilled to death.
Well, there are 2 ways you measure a guy's. I think you can measure what he means to a club offensively, what he drives in, and what he saves that somebody else doesn't have to drive in. And when you put him up there, he's going to be responsible for about plus 75 for the Braves.
1 pitch. 1 out in the 9th. And here comes Tom Glavine, who has walked twice, once with the bases loaded driving in a run, and has struck out his other 10.
And I'd be surprised if he didn't get a appreciative round of applause from those who are still left here.
Both of them.
Glavine.
Oh, there it is.
Because they are real baseball fans, to say. A smattering of applause.
One ball, no strikes. At the knees, it's 1-1.
You think he wants to get a base hit and go stand at first here?
I think he does. I know you wouldn't, but I think he does.
You either got to strike out or hit a homer.
Instead, he hit an empty seat, and the count goes to 1-2. The Braves, if they can get 3 more outs, will be at the 500 mark.
That empty seat was quickly covered up by 7 or 8 people in $400 suits, tearing those up for a $4 ball.
You were right. He wanted to go sit. That was not his A swing. Here's Dion. Sanders has walked, singled, hit into a double play, singled again, and driven in a run. He has stolen a base. He's been outstealing. He's had a busy night. Dodgers going to the bullpen a lot. Tried to bunt his way on, and that got Carter. 0-1. I don't know if it got him in the groin or what, but Carter is decked.
Well, let's have a look. Sanders bunting, got the top half of the ball. Carter went up with the glove to, oh my.
Gary's trying to shake it off. And he did. I don't think it's not time to do the promo they want us to do. Sanders.
No.
Stands back in there. We'll give it to you in the bottom of the ninth. Oh, 0-1 is the count. Cardinals beat the Cubs 4-2. And 0-2 the count on Sanders. Just missed high and inside. Our producer tonight, Ken Nolan, appears intent on ruining everyone's career except his own.
But we'll fix that. We'll ruin it for him.
Shouldn't be any serious problem. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count. Braves are on the warpath here. They're scalping the Dodgers 4-0. The 2-2. That should end the inning. Samuel has it. And Gott works a 1-2-3 ninth. We go to the bottom half. 4-0 Atlanta.
To the bottom of the ninth, Braves lead it 4-0. Skip, why don't you let me handle this promo?
Go for it, baby.
The movie Golden Needles with Elizabeth Ashley stars as an American in Hong Kong who hires Joe Don Baker, not Gary Carter, to steal an Oriental statue. What makes the statue so special? Well, it has the power to grant virility. This 1974 film is coming up right after this game.
Griffin will hit for himself here as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Tom Glavine has pitched a masterpiece. A 3-hitter. He's struck out 8. A strike at the knees to Griffin, who's sharpened to bunt. Mike Sharperson is on deck. He'll pinch hit for Gott. Breaking ball, looped down the right side, foul. Braves and David Justice had him played way over there. 0-2. Little looper into right field. Justice can't get there. He takes a look to first, and the throw is late. A base hit for Griffin. To lead off the ninth, so the Braves not out of the woods yet. Here's Sharperson. And the Braves bullpen begins to stir around again. Mentioned Justice had him played shallow, but as it worked out, not quite shallow enough. 4 hits for the Dodgers. Sharperson is announced.
For the Dodgers, batting for Gott, 27.
Berenguer, Merker throwing down in the Braves bullpen. That's a good example right there, that base hit, of what we've said before. Not every out is on a good pitch. Not every hit is on a bad pitch. He hit Griffin right on the fist with the fastball.
Sharperson, a right-hand hitter and a good one, though he's hitting only 208 on the young season with 1 RBI.
You can group him, Javier, and Chris Gwynn on this Dodger ball club as a trio that any place else would be playing regularly and delivering.
On the corner, Sharperson didn't like it. It's 1-1.
And you could also credit the Dodgers with seeing the value of having some people like them who can come off the bench, fill in, and that's how this organization, this franchise, continues to have a winning record.
Swung late, fouled it into the seats.
Well, Glavine hasn't lost any velocity. You can see they're still tardy on his fastball.
Tommy Lasorda, he's a good manager. He really is. But he's suffering a little bit now. Sharperson stays alive. I think the best managing job he may have done was keeping this team in the hunt last year.
Especially after losing Hershiser and Belcher and Gibson.
The 1-2. Line down the right side. Justice on the run into foul territory. Can't get there. He picked up some nice little gashes probably on his arms as he dove on the warning track.
It would be very easy for him to rest on his laurels as an offensive ball player. Up 4-0. He's pretty sure he's not going to get it. Flat out dive. That warning track here at Dodger Stadium is not kind to your body when you dive into it.
And that kind of play by a much publicized young player is infectious. Strike 3 call. At the knees fastball. He's equaled his career high in strikeouts. Sharperson says it's low, but Doug Harvey's heard it all before. 1 up.
And Doug Harvey probably spread his thumb and his forefinger about an inch apart and said, son, it was just this much above your knees. You're gone. Number 9 for Tom Glavine.
Lasorda and Harvey get into it now.
And Tommy may be doing this not for the effect it's going to have tonight, but for what it'll do tomorrow. A little bit of a carryover. They're pretty sure they're not going to rally here, but some emotion generated to hopefully kick his team off tomorrow night. He's the master at that.
Runner at first, 1 out. 4-0 Atlanta, 9th inning. Braves trying to start a 9-game road trip in great fashion. At the knees, no argument there, 0-1. Butler, a single to left, flied to right, and struck out. 9 strikeouts for Tom Glavine. Curve fouled away. He's quickly in front, 0-2.
He's made good pitches on everybody tonight, but I think his best pitches all night have come to Butler and to Strawberry.
He struck out 9 men previously last year on May 8th at Chicago. Dave Pursley looks on with Bobby Cox in the 0-2 pitch. That's low. It's 1-2.
And if you're a manager, you love an evening like this. Your offense has gotten you enough runs. Your pitcher is delivering. You can just kind of sit back and not worry about it and enjoy it. On the other hand, if you're on the short end of the stick, a lot going on in your dugout.
Threw him the fastball. That's fouled away. Storm Davis pitched a 5-hit shutout for Kansas City tonight over in Cleveland. Eric King, the loser. Boy, at Cleveland, they drew 4,800 people, something like that.
I played there, went in once with the Milwaukee Brewers where we packed in 868.
In that huge ballpark.
Oh, what does it seat? 80-something thousand?
Yeah, I believe so. 84,000, something like that. The 1-2 to Butler. Fouled another curveball away. Tried to guide it into left field. Look where Deion Sanders and Ronnie Kent are playing Butler.
In my life, I have never seen this extreme and off-field defensive shift.
If he pulls the ball at all, he's got a triple. A fly ball to normal right field's a double.
If he pulls the ball at all, somebody has gone against the scouting report and not made a good pitch.
Fastball struck him out. There's a new career high. Butler is out of there. 10 strikeouts for Tom Glavine. Butler says something to Doug Harvey as he walks away, but he's just asking, did I chase a good pitch? Butler has struck out 4 times in this series. He struck out only 62 all of last year.
Probably was not a strike, down and away fastball. Looking for Glavine's fastball to tail back in, and I've always wondered why a hitter would swing at a strike and then ask, did I swing at a bad one? Career high 10 strikeouts, no walks.
There's a strike to Javier, who's 0 for 3.
What a great night for Tom Glavine.
This is the way Don Sutton used to pitch him, from the other side.
I didn't get 10 too many times.
Oh, boy, it's 0-2.
Glavine looks like he's having a kind of night where he'd say, okay, let's rest for a few minutes and keep going. I'm in a groove.
I might let him pitch again tomorrow. 102 pitches, 70 strikes.
Better than 2-1. Great ratio.
Outside, 1-2.
And on this pitching staff, there is some friendly competition. With Smoltz and Avery and Glavine, they're very close, and Charlie Lebrun out front. I guarantee you, when you get a couple of good performances back-to-back like you've gotten from Avery and from Glavine, it'll inspire the other 2 guys.
He stays alive. Tried to guide it into right field. A ball and 2 strikes. Tom Glavine has pitched some other game, but I can't ever remember him being so completely in control as he has been in this game today.
And there's a guy who got it started on this road trip. Fine 6 innings of work last night, Steve Avery.
Runner goes. Ground ball. Pendleton has it. Glavine has his shutout, and the Braves win the ball game. What a night for Tom Glavine. It's his first shutout since August 7th of 1989, and that, too, was here in Los Angeles. Glavine beats the Dodgers. The Braves are at 500, and they've started the road trip 2-0. Back with totals and highlights right after this.